All right, all right, all right. I think we are live here on numerous fronts, like a small wombat. We were talking about wombats in my ascent earlier today, and namely in the context of my beard. I was complaining about how, like, when you're growing a beard out, you got to get past that beard hump. And until you do, it's like you got this like small wombat attached to your face. And then I proceeded to use the word wombat. I think the wombat count was at like 16 by the time I was done with ascent. So hopefully I don't use that. Hopefully I don't go into 16 wombats here on this live event today. But anyhow, welcome, Jerry. We're here to talk about tax savings. As we're coming up on year end, that's when it's front and center for a lot of folks. And so we're super excited to have Jerry Lotz, who is our resident cost segregation expert. And as such, he's got familiarity with all types of different bonus depreciation techniques and Schedule 179 activity that you can do. And so we wanted to jump on and kind of generally talk about equipment rental and talk about why it makes sense. So Jerry, welcome, and give us a little bit of background and tell us why you're super fired up about equipment rental.
So, Ashley, thank you so much to you and your team for having me here. Appreciate the relationship that we've grown over the past year or so. Always a pleasure working with your group, and I think together we've helped to, got the basis for saving a number of individuals and tax professionals and their clients some serious money out there. So I want to start by sharing just a real quick story. So I come from a medical sales background and always had a gnawing to do something on my own. And a number of years ago, probably 8-10 years ago, finally had the opportunity to do this. But while I was in medical sales, I'll never forget, I'm sitting in a room with 8 other salespeople. It's 11:45. The lunch is outside the door. We can smell it coming under the door. Our bellies are growling. The VP of sales is up at the whiteboard, turned around with his back towards us. So he's up there scribbling. And finally, he turns around and cocks his head and he says, "You know what? You don't know what you don't know." And all of us just looked at each other, and I said, "Where is old Pete going?" He was kind to go down a rabbit hole every so often. So I said, "Where in the world is he going?" But at that moment, the room became silent, and he turned around again and he said, "You don't know what you don't know." It clicked for all of us. And I'll never forget that. And it is so, so true today. We don't know what we don't know. And it just is amazing that it equates so much to the tax code. The tax code is, 70,000 plus pages. Even the most accomplished tax professionals can't know and can't be expected to know every word of the tax code and how it is applied to save money for clients. So in its essence, the tax code is really, it's like an onion. You got to open that onion, and then you got to start peeling away layers of that onion.
Oh no, he didn't. He pulled out an onion.
Real thing, right? Watch me start crying here soon.
I was just gonna say he's gonna start tearing up.
Oh my gosh! If I have to leave the room suddenly, you'll know why. But in all sincerity, the tax code is like an onion, and once you start peeling one layer back of that tax code, another layer unveils itself and becomes prominent. So the first layer in saving taxes and building wealth is peeling back the layer of that onion. There's an old saying, it takes money to make money, right?
Yep.
But there's an even older saying that it takes money to save taxes, because if you don't have money, you don't have taxes to pay anyway. So
exactly right.
The first step in peeling back the tax savings is actually owning your own business. That opens up a lot of opportunities for other areas to unveil themselves of the tax code that we can certainly take advantage of. So the initiative that we'll have a conversation about today talks about heavy equipment rental. There's a partnership that's been in place for 9 years between two companies, Equipment Share and Easy Equipment Zone. They have been helping investors, people who are seeking tax savings, to save on their taxes and make money for the past 9 years, all under the black letter legal code that is part of the tax code. So it's been tried and proven and vetted, and it encompasses two methodologies, really, or two applications of the tax code. Section 179, which allows married couples filing jointly in 2024 to take a deduction of $1,220,000 against their business, or bonus depreciation, which in the past has been as much as 100%, but this year it's down to 60%, which is still really significant if you can write off 60% of a purchase in the first year that you make that purchase and put it into service. So I'll stop there for just a minute, Ashley, if you've got any questions or thoughts, and just wanted to kind of introduce what we were talking about.
Well, I think it's important, Jerry, to kind of distinguish. And, so for this year, we're capped at 60% on the bonus depreciation, right?
Yes.
Looking like for all, absent the, God willing and the creek don't rise, right? That we're probably going to get that jumped up to 100% here in 2025 and during the Super Bowl of tax. We got lots of opportunity zone stuff that we're anticipating happening as well, but pretty confident that kicks back to 100%. So does it make sense for people to try to do this year, or does it make sense? I don't even know if you can do it this year. Do they need to get it teed up for first quarter of next year?
That is a great comment, Ashley. And the truth of the matter is, we've got some clients that are doing it this year. The window is closing yesterday, basically, to do it this year. If you don't have bringing cash to the table, chances are we won't be able to get this done, because there's a financing process in what we're doing as well. And we'll talk more about that. But this is a great strategy to start early next year and be able to build wealth while you're accumulating those deductions for 2025, especially if they go back to 100% bonus.
Yeah. All right. So that's for the high W-2 earner, right? Because they could take bonus depreciation against it. But for the business owner, is if they've got any kind of income that's coming in off of a K-1, then they can take the Schedule 179, and that's up to you said 1,250,000, right?
1,220,000 for married filing jointly.
Yeah, right. It's crazy why they put it at 1,220,000, but let's call it cost of living adjustment or CPI index is probably why, right?
Yeah.
So it's capped at 1 point. It's 1,220,000. But what's the significance about that? So what can they do with that?
So they can use that deduction to offset business income, to offset K-1 income, to offset W-2 income. There have been folks, quite honestly, that have been in this program for 9 years that have continued to secure positions in this equipment ownership that have totally minimized any tax liability.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so walk us through the mechanics of it. So show us, and you want me to pull up your your slide deck is
let's see.
Let me see if I can rotate this thing. It shifted us around
a little bit.
Let's see if I go full screen, like why it's doing that.
That's a good question.
I tell you what, you got to love it when technology works, not so much when it doesn't. So,
that's for sure. So if it doesn't work, we'll just have a conversation.
Awesome. Well, I'm trying to think if there might be a way. I tell you what, why don't you email me that slide if you can? and then what I'll do is I'll pull it up on my OBS, and then I can share my screen that way.
Okay. I will do that. I will email you 2 things right now. Good deal.
So while you're doing that, Jerry, give us kind of the down and dirty. So you talked about your partners and Easy Equipment Rental. Tell us about them and kind of what they're doing. I think that that's one of the crucial things inside of this program is that this isn't like where you're putting yard iron on a construction site for a year. This is weekly equipment rental, daily/weekly. Walk us through what's the significance of that.
So just a little bit of background here. So the companies that are involved, Easy Equipment Zone and Equipment Share, have been working together for about 9 years in this partnership. Everybody's heard of a company called United Rentals. United Rentals is the number one in this equipment rental industry. They've got hundreds of locations around the country, probably even some internationally. And then there's Sunbelt Rentals and a few others. And Equipment Share is not too far behind that, but they put together this interesting model that even through COVID, and think about it, we had COVID, a lot of things shut down, but equipment rentals and infrastructure growth didn't shut down. So Equipment Share and Easy Equipment, even through COVID, never failed their obligations to the investors. The equipment market these days is probably a $60 billion market, and it's continuing to grow. So as of now, Equipment Share probably has 250 or so locations around the country. These are actual equipment yards where contractors go and pick up a bulldozer or pick up an aerial lift or whatever. They would go and they don't want to invest the money to buy these heavy pieces of equipment. Sometimes they're not sure how long they'll need it. They'd rather go and rent it for a few weeks or a month or a couple months or 3 months or whatever, and not have the burden of the maintenance and things like that. Yep. So this Equipment Share is the actual yard. They've got a couple hundred of them around the country. They own the equipment, they house it, they maintain it, they insure it. They even put a little RFID chip in that equipment so that when an investor becomes part of this program, they can see where this equipment has been. They can see where it, what it's been doing, see what kind of maintenance has been done on it. So it's really like a nanny cam almost.
What's Do you really want to know?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, man, I don't know about that.
Oh gosh. Okay.
And I know that we're having some issues with LinkedIn. For whatever reason, it's not live streaming on LinkedIn right now, which is kind of that is unfortunate. Let's see if we can go live on this now. All right. Actually, I think we might be live on LinkedIn now. So for those of you who are on LinkedIn, so apologies that we're just now getting in. For those of you that were on the YouTube, man, thanks for hanging in with us, jumping over there, and we're super stoked. Either way, if you've got questions or if you've got stuff that you want either Jerry or myself to hit, make sure that you dump it into the comments. We love getting comments. I'll pull your comment up live and we'll put it onto the stream. So even if you want to heckle me, if you've got comments about how great my beard looks, you can certainly put that in there. I'll pull your comment face up onto the live stream. If you think that it looks terrible, let me know that as well. But we appreciate you being on.
Do I get to peel the onion again, Ashley?
Dude, peel the onion. Let me see the other side of it. Because the other guys, the LinkedIn Live folks, didn't get it.
Oh gosh. So what we talked about was the tax code. It is an amazing tool. It's like an onion, but you got to start peeling back the layers of the onion in order to open up more areas of that tax code.
I just wanted to see you get that crazy onion out again, and I guarantee you're going to start crying here in a second.
My gosh.
Because you got that onion stuff all over you now.
I'm going to put a wet rag on top of it to keep it to a minimum here, because that's the last thing I need to do is to start crying. But Anyway, just to kind of recap, the easiest way for decades, for centuries, for people to make money is to own their own business. And there are a lot of tax benefits that come with owning your own business. A lot of strategies that are out there. The tax code 70,000 pages long. Nobody can be versed in every aspect of those 70,000 pages. What we try to do is bring little known aspects of those 70,000 pages to the forefront here, to the masses, to help you and or your clients save money. The same thing Ashley does with his Opportunity Zone program, and now bringing in some other avenues for tax savings. So what we've been talking about is a partnership that's been out there for 9 years between two companies, Equipment Share and Easy Equipment Zone. And Equipment Share it's a equipment rental company. Basically, they've got 250 or so locations around the country. They actually house and store and repair and maintain trucks and aerial lifts and cranes and different backhoes, different types of equipment. As an investor, now we have an opportunity to go and be a part of that initiative and actually own our own pieces of equipment.
Look at that. So you mean that I can have my very own bulldozer, huh?
If you wanted to have a bulldozer.
We talked about this, right? Like I need a bulldozer for this project that we got up in the mountains. So do I get so if I buy it, do I get to use it if for whatever reason it's not rented out?
You never know. But I'll tell you what you could do though, is get one of those big aerial lifts and use it as a tree stand for deer hunting.
Right? It's funny is that there's a congressman from here in North Carolina, and he had some bad knees. He actually played football at Duke when my dad was there, and because of playing football, his knees were terrible, and so he bought one of those like police things, right? And he used that as a deer stand. So maybe we could rent those out as like equipment rental, right? And
who knows?
We just paint them camouflage. I love it.
Who knows?
Put a deer blind on one of those scissor lifts. I love it.
There you go. You just got to make sure it's quiet.
Yep.
Right. So anyway, so this partnership's been out there for about 9 years. So an investor comes in, and the neat thing about this is it's not a dollar for dollar investment. It turns out that it's usually end up being a 10x investment. So somebody comes in and is looking at their tax liability. They've got $500,000 worth of income, whether it's from W-2, K-1, or other initiatives, $500,000 worth of income that they are just dreading paying the tax on. So they take a $50,000 block of their own money. We help them leverage it up with a $450,000 loan. So now they're on the hook. So they've got some skin in the game for a $450,000 loan. They purchase assorted pieces of equipment that they can now monitor, see where it is, what it's been doing, how it's been maintained, the whole 9 yards regarding this equipment. Immediately now they own $500,000 worth of equipment. They can use that section 179 of the tax code to write off that entire $500,000 worth of equipment ownership, which essentially would zero out their tax liability on their W-2 K-1 income. Or they can use bonus depreciation, which in 24 is 60%. So they'd write off $300,000 in 24 and then take the remaining $200,000 carried forward equally over the next 4 years. So every month, because they've made this investment and now own $500,000 worth of equipment, that Equipment Share has available to rent out, every month the owner receives back enough money from the partnership to cover the principal and interest that is on that loan. So the first of the month or whatever, they may get, a few $1,000s back, and they turn around the 5th or the 6th of the month and send that same few $1,000s to the loan company. They've satisfied the loan payment. And gradually every month for the next 12 months, they are getting, in addition to the loan money, they are getting a portion of enough money to, in the course of a year, equate to about 15 to 18% net profit in their pocket.
Nice.
So it is a huge tax savings animal, and it is a huge money wealth generating animal.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna run through this slide because I think I got this figured out now. Right?
Sure, go for it.
Man, we got kicked in the teeth by technology, but we regrouped because we are gritty. You're gritty. We're like small wombats, right? Where we fight. We come out fighting. All right. Well, that's me and the thing. So we'll go power. We'll just do this one. You can see the extra stuff, but you just talked about the monthly cash flow. So wait, so you get the tax deduction, right?
Yeah.
And you also get the monthly cash flow off of the thing.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Now let's talk about this, right? Because this actually could be potentially a something that people need to take a heads up on, right? Is that third slide that's over there on that first slide, that third section that's over there.
Correct.
Says favorable loan terms. So walk us through those because and walk us through that, that there's a personal guarantee on these because it's got to be at risk, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, but there's an opportunity to 10x your money. So in the example that I just made, the gentleman having $500,000 worth of income that he's trying to offset, he invested $50,000, try and leverage that up to $500,000 with a $450,000 loan.
Yep.
So the loan amortizes over 10 years, typically pays off in 5 years. So at the end of 5 years, we talked about every month the owner getting enough money to pay the principal and interest that's due on that loan. Plus, at the end of the year, every month that owner gets a portion of what accumulates to 15 to 18% net on his original investment. So on a $50,000 investment, if he's gotten 15%, he's putting $7,500, or she is putting $7,500 in their pocket at the end of the year. So that process continues for the next 4 years until at the end of the 5th year. Generally, sometimes it goes 6 years, but generally at the end of the 5th year, the partnership actually rebuys that equipment back from the original owner with enough money to pay the remaining principal and interest that's on the loan, plus gives them their original $50,000 back. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, think about it. So you get 15 to 18% net on your money every year. You get the big $500,000 tax deduction, plus you get your original principal back at the end. And quite honestly, a strategy that a lot of folks have adopted over the recent years, once they've gotten into this program and they've gotten the big bang the first year, chances are the second year they're still going to have a pretty significant income liability to offset. So they may take another position, or they may take a position in January and may decide in September of the same year that they want to take another position.
All right. I got a question. So on this, dude, how come there's nothing in North Carolina? It's like, come on, man. I'm going to have to drive down to Charleston to pick up my bulldozer. That's not cool.
Well, yeah, who knows?
All right, so let's cycle through the rest of this stuff, right? So we talked about, and if anybody wants this deck, you can reach out to us and we can send it to you. Anything on these slides that we want to focus on, Jerry?
We've pretty much touched base on what's on these slides. I did want to mention one thing. So sometimes we'll get the question, well, what if I buy an aerial lift and it is sitting in, Bismarck, North Dakota, and hasn't been used all year? Am I going to be out of luck? And the answer is no, because what Equipment Share does is an easy equipment. They pull everybody's equipment together.
Okay.
So if your specific piece of equipment is not rented for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, whatever, you're not getting hurt by that. All those revenues are pulled together and shared out. So that's an important distinction.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
go ahead.
What were you going to say?
No, at the end of 5 years, they are happy, elated to buy that equipment back from you, from the investor, because now they don't have to pay out the extra 15, 18%.
Sure. And then they can still put it to work.
Still put it to work, whether it's here or sending it to another country or wherever.
Yep. Well, and I would imagine that, I mean, just inside of the equipment business as a whole, right? There's all types of plays, to your point, right? Like lots of people want to buy this stuff. So I keep trying to figure out if there's a way that we could get somebody to do this as an OZ deal, right? Opportunity zone equipment rental. Because think about it. You could take the money from your fund, you know, drop it down into equipment as your QOZB, have that, you know, as long as your equipment rental facility is in an opportunity zone, this stuff's going to be coming back to it at least every 2 weeks. And bam, now you've got opportunity zone property and you can continue to do this, right? Now, before you hit 10 years old on your fund, you're going to pay depreciation recapture, because that's, you know, that's relevant because there's probably going to be a taxable issue when you get your money back on the back end, right, because you won't have any basis in that equipment. But man, if you had the OZ play on this, you could exit it after your fund turns 10 years old and not pay any depreciation recapture or capital gains because you don't have basis. So
there's more than one way to skin a cat, right?
Jerry, we got to talk to them about setting up, right? And I guarantee you they got one of these that's in a zone, right? Just be like, hey, listen, just put us into that one.
Could very well be. You never know.
You never know. Well, we're working on that. All right, we got some comments. Here, let me pull these onto the screen. We got a question from Jake. Since its inception, has the administrator ever missed their scheduled payout?
Good question.
What happens if you don't get paid?
I mean, it is possible, but since its inception, the administrator hasn't missed their scheduled monthly payout to the investor. So, but if by some chance they missed it, the investor, in all honesty, would still be expected to make the liable for the payment for sure.
Yeah. So, you know, past performance is not indicative of future results, but it certainly is a good to know that there's a track record here of 8 years. Yeah. And once again, this is not investment advice. This is not legal advice. Make sure that you run that by any of your professionals before you actually take action. But Jerry is here to help you and your professionals to specifically kind of take a look at this thing and look at it. And then Jake follows that up with what flexibility do equipment owners have in managing their rentals, and how does the opt-in, opt-out mechanism function?
So the flexibility to manage the rentals.
I want to know if I can ride my bulldozer, I think is what he's asking there. And I think that it's probably that you probably don't have any flexibility, I think.
Yeah. Not a whole lot. I mean, you can certainly go and visit an equipment share yard someplace. You know, you would certainly know where your equipment is, but
sure,
the program takes care of all that administrative.
You got that RFID chip. We can track it, and you can look at it. You can probably sit on it, but you may not be able to actually bulldoze with it.
Right.
Well, Jerry, we are at our 2:30 mark. I really appreciate you being on here today. Thank you for talking once again about some layers of the tax onion that we might not have known about before.
Absolutely.
And hopefully you guys, that all of the folks out there that tuned into this, and everybody out there as a whole, that you're actually going to peel some tax onions, and because otherwise you're going to be crying when you get that tax bill in April of next year.
You got it.
Jerry, thanks again. And
appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely. We'll see you guys next time. If you guys want to learn any more, visit us at ozpros.com. Reach out to us. Set a call. We'd love to talk with you more about this. We've got lots of different ways to be able to interact with you and help you save taxes.
Enjoy this blessed holiday season.
Absolutely. Here we go. We got a couple of questions in here. So Tia wants to know, how do we sign up? So Jerry, that's actually a great question. How do you sign up? And we'll wrap it up with that one.
Okay, sure. So there is an initial document that we would send that would give a description of the program. It's a DocuSign. That's really the first step.
So send an email to me at ashley@ozpros.com. My team will get all of that stuff over to you. They'll get you plugged in with Jerry, and then we'll get you the information that you need in order to get signed up. But thank you guys for watching. Tia, thanks for the questions. Tony, appreciate you being here today, and we'll see you guys next time. Merry Christmas in the meantime.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.